Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Just believing, obviously, that I am a major champion, or I have played, won some great tournaments, and just believing that my game was good. Obviously, I hadn't had results to draw from, but I had to sort of dig deep and try and draw upon past experiences to get my confidence going this week. But, Augusta can bring out that in you. Wonderful atmosphere out there, playing with defending champion Bubba. And obviously, when you get that atmosphere and you get your game going, it's a pleasure to play around here.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome into Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Here on a Thursday night from downtown Columbia, 60 miles from Augusta, where the world has tuned in to watch the Masters off and running at Augusta National, and a tremendous start on day one. Some very good scores. The course giving up some low numbers here in round one. We'll get a complete report from Don Williams coming up in just a little bit. But right now, Jordan Spieth is the man at 7 under par. As through 16, he was at 8 under and picked up a bogey just a little while ago. Has fallen back to 7 under. He's 2 ahead of Charlie Hoffman, Justin Rose, and Ernie Els. Bill Haas from Greer right there at 3 under 69. Russell Henley, Georgia native who lives in Charleston, a 4 under 68. So great start to the Masters this afternoon. Tiger Woods having kind of an up and down opening round, not able to put much room between himself and even par. He's sort of in a bogey birdie kind of up and down situation for him today. But I think for the most part, he's had a pretty solid day. He hasn't had the shanks with his short game. He's had some issues off the tee, but he's made some good putts. And he's got a little something to build on here as he heads down the stretch of the opening round. All right, complete coverage coming up in a little bit from Don Williams, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, Professor Tom Hayes, together with you here. Day one of the Masters. USC spring football practice continues today. And we're getting ready for the spring games coming up this weekend. Also, of course, baseball. South Carolina headed down to Florida for what is a huge series for them. Clemson headed up to Boston College for what is equally a huge series for the Tigers. So we'll be talking about all that tonight here on Sports Talk. So thoughts on day one of the Masters, guys, as Tiger is right now at +1.
Yeah, bogeyed the first hole.
Yeah, he's at +1 after just finishing up on, what was that,
14?
15? Yeah. 14? Okay.
Yeah, he's played 14.
Quite frankly, I thought he would do much worse. I thought he was rushing his way back. But for the most part, he has looked solid for a guy that's had a long hiatus. In fact, it's been 2 years since he's played in the Masters. But some of his tee shots, woo, boy, to remind me when I struggled trying to swing a golf club. When the ball, your eyes are focused straight down the middle, and the ball goes to a 45-degree angle this way.
Yeah, he needs a little what Dustin Johnson has, leading the tournament off the tee, 316-yard average off the tee for DJ.
And poor Ben Crenshaw, his final Masters, he shoots a 91 today.
Hey,
19 over par. Back in a moment. You've been to Augusta today. You're on your way back into South Carolina. You're dialed up to Sports Talk. Tell us about your day. Who'd you follow? Where'd you walk? Where'd you stand? What'd you eat? How many barbecue sandwiches? How many pimento cheese sandwiches did you purchase? How much money did you spend in the golf shop? Actually, I haven't been to Augusta National in many, many years. It's been a long time since I last covered Augusta National. But one thing about Augusta National, they don't try to rip you off in their merchandise tent thing.
They don't have to.
What I'm saying is they keep their prices.
Yeah, they don't rip you off. You can get a pimento cheese sandwich. What is it, $1?
Yeah,
$1.50?
It's still very patron friendly.
I don't remember how much the beers are. I don't think I was drinking beer when I was there last time, but I did enjoy it. I mean, those pimento cheese sandwiches are spectacular.
They really are.
They are very good.
And they're green wrappers.
And they're green. Everything is.
I tell you that the times that I went to Augusta to cover the tournament, it's just an amazing place. The most amazing thing to me is how you can have so many people, 35, 40,000 in a given day. And it's just, except for the roars, when somebody makes a big shot, it's just silence, just quiet. People are well behaved.
Well, you have to be. I was reading a story today. They are very hardcore about their rules, and if you violate them,
you're out of there.
And the media or not, there was stories of somebody that was in the press room and stepped a few feet outside the door, got on their phone to take a call. Boom. Took them to the dark green cabin there where they take violators.
This was a reporter?
Yeah, reporter.
And he stepped
outside the just to take a call out of the media tent. No phones. If you pull out your cell phone and they catch you trying to bring a cell phone in, they will take your badges and you will be banned for life. Not just that tournament, for life. One guy was telling a story about how he'd flown back from overseas, got to Atlanta Thursday morning early. They drove straight to Augusta, and he was going through. He had a fanny pack on. He forgot that he had stuffed his cell phone in that fanny pack. The security guard found it, said, they took him to the green tent, took his phone, checked it, let him go in that day. A few weeks later, he got a letter from Augusta National.
You're done?
You are done.
Oh, my.
You are done forever.
Well, it was lucky he didn't have his pistol in the bag. They would have done worse.
All right, 800-956-7266. What do you think of the first day at Augusta National so far? Let's give you the leaderboard update. Jordan Spieth, 7 under. He's playing the 18th now, and was playing. He put together 3 straight birdies, and then I think it was on. I was listening on the radio on my way in. It was either 15 or 16. Must have been 15, where he overhit the green and then played a poor shot back towards the green. I had a great chance for at least a birdie. Missed that opportunity. Took a bogey. Ended his string of birdies. He's still 7 under through 17 and playing spectacular golf. Charlie Hoffman, Justin Rose, Ernie Els, they share the clubhouse lead at 67. Russell Henley is in at 4 under 68. Jason Day's on the course through 14 at 4 under, along with Sergio Garcia, who just chipped in a little while ago. It must have been on 13, either 12 or 13. He was off the green and hit a chip that was pretty firm, and the only way it was going to stop was to hit the pin. And he hit the pin, and it went straight down. Booyah. Birdie for Sergio. He's 4 under. Bill Haas, and always thought his dad was going to win the Masters. He came close. Bill is certainly going to win the Masters one day. He's got the game for it. He's got the approach to it. 69 for him, 3 under. Paul Casey, Webb Simpson, Ryan Palmer, all 3 under. Kevin Streelman, par 3 winner, 2 under 70, along with Patrick Reed. Dustin Johnson had a 2 under 70. Good recovery for him because he got off kind of a slow start. Phil Mickelson, 2 under 70 for him as well. And Sung Yul No, 2 under 70. Also at 2 under on the course, Graham McDowell, he's playing the 18th. Billy Horschel through a 16. John Sinden through 15 is 2 under par. Let's see. Who else here jumps out at me? Tom Watson. What a day for 65-year-old Tom Watson. 71. 1 under par round for him. Very nice. And Bubba Watson, 1 under par round 71 for him. Rory McIlroy, 1 under 71. Charles Schwartzel also had a 71 today. Zach Johnson, even par 72. So K-Mac He's setting himself up for a run at another green jacket to break your curse. The one thing he lives for, I've seen him tweet this, is to burst your curse.
Yeah, the curse of Zach Johnson, who I said will never win another major. I never know who's going to win any given major, but I know who is not, and that is Zach Johnson.
I do not know why you're so hard.
I don't dislike him, and I've had actual people. Our buddy Tom Mason over at Party has spent time with Zach Johnson and says he doesn't like it that I say this because Zach apparently is a swell guy that everybody loves. To meet him is to love him. I just made the point after that Masters that it was anticlimactic for me that a guy who was never going to win another major just won Augusta. I like the Blue Bloods. Okay, I like to see the big names win these tournaments.
You're more of a front runner than you.
I didn't like it when Ben Curtis won the British Open Championship. That bothered me too. I want guys that have staying power.
Mike Weir upset you too?
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Mike Weir being the first lefty to do that. I wanted it to be Mickelson, but that was before Mickelson.
Or has it become because he was a foreigner? So you got something against Canadians?
No, I don't have any problems with Canadians. I mean, America Junior is doing just fine up there.
I know you like Canadian club, but do you have a problem with
Canadian bacon? Yeah, also a big fan of that.
Wilson Golden.
Tiger today, take you through his round thus far. He parred the first 2 holes and he bogeyed. Hang on a second. I'm looking at his backside. Let's see. Front side, he opened with a bogey. Then he got it back with a birdie on number 2. He bogeyed number 4, birdied number 8, bogeyed number 9. On the backside, he's gone par, bogey, birdie, par, as he goes to 16. So kind of an up and down day for Tiger Woods. But, I'm sure he's just trying to get back into the flow of championship golf. Keep himself somewhat within reach and try to make a move tomorrow. Ricky Fowler, if he gets home in decent shape. Ricky Fowler is 1 over through 14. And Ben Martin from Clemson, 2 over 74. He's in the clubhouse, 2 over 74. Former champion Vijay Singh, 3 over 75. Who else jumps up at me here? Fred Couples, 5 over through 16. Former champion Larry Mize. You probably didn't like Larry Mize winning a Masters.
No, I like
6 over 78 for him. And Ben Crenshaw. Take a look at old Ben's card today. This is kind of what my card would look like at Augusta.
No.
Double bogey. Then an 8. No, then he had 2 birdies. Back-to-back birdies. I'm looking at the backside. Look at the backside. So 10, he bogeyed 10, had an 8 on 11. Then he went birdie, then a double bogey, then a par, then a bogey, then a double bogey, then a 7 triple bogey. That's just on the backside. Shot 48 on the front. So tough day for Ben Crenshaw, but hey, this is his 44th Masters.
You could not shoot 91 tomorrow at Augusta.
Well, yes, he could on the first 6 holes.
See, these kind of shots at my golf game are not appreciated.
It's not a shot. It's just I'm stating a fact.
There are people who would vouch for my golf game and the ability. Augusta is not.
Who are these people? I've never met.
It's not. If you have
if
you have a good short game, as I do, if you're sharp around the greens, you got a chance.
Play with spin.
There.
You have to play with spin.
Well, it depends on which ball I'm using.
Yeah,
if I'm using both a lot of spin, then I'm going to spin it a lot.
A yo-yo.
Sometimes I prefer distance. Just depends on what I want to use.
Yeah, I'm sure that 316 off the tee average at Dustin Johnson's would have been in trouble today.
Well,
there would have been a different South Carolinian with the highest average yards off the tee. It wouldn't have been Dustin Johnson.
Would have been 3 of us because you got Bill Haas, you got Dustin Johnson, you'd have me. Unfortunately, I've never been invited to play Augusta. Yeah, the invite has never come in the mail. But there's always hope. Maybe one. I take that back. What am I saying? Lou Holtz invited me to play. He's a member.
Yeah.
And he said to me one day after spring practice many years ago, he goes, "Hey, Phil, you ever play the National?" I say, No, coach, I haven't. He goes, "Okay, I'll take you out there one day." Last I heard about that.
Yeah. Holtz always telling the truth.
Nice idea while it lasted. We'll be right back. Well, I tell you what, after what I just saw, I'm speechless.
Oh, man.
You like that, huh?
We need a rim shot. Actually, we need the Spurrier.
You think anybody else is going to use that?
No.
That's it's because nobody else would be so
Speechless?
creative
No,
to come up with that.
That's actually is
pretty good. Yeah, go ahead and admit it, K-Mac. It's pretty good.
It's not bad.
I'm speechless. He just rolled in a birdie on 18 from about what, 15 feet?
If he won it,
20 feet? He's 8 under.
I hope he doesn't run away with this thing.
You know, we might be seeing the crowning of the new dominating American golfer in Jordan Spieth. Some do. I think Tiger's led.
Yeah, Tiger's gone wire to wire. I mean, you can run away with that thing. And the way he's been playing, it's not a fluke. Sometimes a guy will get hot on that first day, and then the nerves will get to him on Saturday. This guy's been playing as well as anybody in the world.
But he finished second last year at Augusta. So, I mean, he's used to it.
I wouldn't be against this cat.
He is.
So Tiger's 9 strokes behind right now.
Ernie Els is right there, 5 under. How about Ernie Els? Yeah, tremendous.
Well, that's Tom Watson was up there for a while. He played
1 under.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Watson might beat Tiger Woods today.
That would be funny.
I mean, that's just lets you know what that's the thing about Augusta. Why I think Tiger knew he could come back, not playing in competitive tournaments for a while. He knows this course. I mean, when you know that course, when you've played it that many times and you're comfortable there, you know, Tom Watson, Fred Couples, who didn't play that great today, you'll see the Bernhard Longer sometimes will put a few rounds together. Those guys can go out there and throw a number up at Augusta.
But it's not a course.
I love that course.
If you don't have confidence in your game, it's not a course where you're going to do well. And, you know, Tiger had struggled with the short game when he left the tour for 2 months. He's been focused on that. You heard him talk about it earlier this week. Watching him today, he hit some nice short shots, some nice chips, so maybe he's regained that confidence in his stroke.
Well, sometimes, you know, you go back to familiar areas, and it's almost like you're channeling your memory to get your muscles involved in what I used to do when I was completely healthy, and that's part, I guess, is. That's why the first round. Particularly, you could say, okay, fine. Well, he sees he's got some functional strength, but his shots not working that well. However, this second go round is when I think probably we're going to see if Tiger has any staying power.
K-Mac Barry on our Twitter timeline responds to you and says, Zach Johnson is a big name. 11 PGA wins, a major, a current top 25 world ranking. That is big time by any reasonable definition.
Again, the backstory is after he won, the one major he won was Augusta. That was, 6 years ago? I don't remember how many years ago.
It's been longer than that.
It's been a while.
It's
been several years. And I said the Monday after the Masters, I still remember where I was. I was actually at the Forest Acres Classic over at AC Flora High School doing the defunct Sports Talk First Edition. And I said,
late great,
he'll never win another major.
You did say that.
So far, I am right. That's all I'm saying. I didn't say he wasn't a great golfer, wasn't a solid guy, and an outstanding human being. I mean, you know, I'm sure that little baby he was kissing after the Masters win is probably all grown up now. And
well, we're all rooting for him to win another major.
I said I would take a driver to the head, I think is what I said back then.
Shut you up. Back in a moment. Opening day of the Masters here on Sports Talk. Good to have you with us on this Thursday. Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, Professor Tom Hayes from our studios in downtown Columbia. Jordan Spieth with the lead, 8 under par, 64. After knocking down a birdie putt on 18, he's got a 3-shot lead on Charlie Hoffman. And the only person who could probably make a run at that to cut into the lead, Jason Day. Jason Day's at 5 under as he plays 16, and Sergio Garcia is 4 under as he plays 16. So
he's had a great day, right, Corn?
That's too easy.
Yeah.
I think being Spiethless is a very creative
Justin
headline.
Rose.
Sometimes when something is so obvious in front of you, you don't say it. Like I would never say Spiethless because I think somebody else would think of it. So don't do. I think
it's very witty and creative. Let's welcome in the most creative and wittiest person I know, a man who has covered the Masters since Bobby Jones. Talking about the former Tar Heel basketball player, not the golfer. Don Williams from Augusta National. Good evening, Don.
Philip, how are you?
Man, it's great to have you back with us. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. A little wilted because it's not supposed to be this hot in April.
We know this, and of course, you being a grandfather now, I'm sure that the age kicking in, the heat and the humidity starting to add up on you.
There's more truth to that than you know, especially those hills of the National. They are merciless in this kind of weather. It could be worse. The humidity wasn't that high, and there was a pretty nice breeze. And there was some cloud cover that would play hide and seek, but still, I think 92 is kind of what it crested at this afternoon. That's warm in anybody's book.
That's got to be one of the hottest Thursdays in recent Masters history, I would think.
I can't remember. I think 2011 was really warm, but I don't remember if it got to 90. I'm used to. You mentioned I've been coming here a long time. I've seen when it was 44, 45 degrees and the wind blowing and you were freezing to death. So it can be anything this time of year, but typically 75 to 80 is kind of what you expect. That's what they're saying we're going to have on Saturday and Sunday. So it'll be nice to get back to that. Tomorrow, it's going to be warm again, maybe not quite as warm, but there's a greater threat of some afternoon thunderstorms tomorrow. Let's hope they miss it.
How about some rain overnight, which for the guys going off in the morning wave tomorrow, they could really benefit from a softer course if it does rain overnight?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to rain tonight, but it might. It was soft today, so I was amazed at how wet some of the traffic areas were off the fairway. And I don't know where that came from because I don't know. I've only been here since noon yesterday. I can't remember when it rained last. You would know that better than me. But there were some very wet areas, and as a result, the greens were extremely receptive today. And I think that particularly those that played this morning, they certainly had an advantage, and that's why you saw the first guy off the golf course, Charlie Hoffman, go out and shoot 67. But there have been some pretty good scores this afternoon as well. None better than Jordan Spieth, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, 8 under 64, that's fantastic in anybody's book. And there's really, we've seen over the years somebody come out of the crowd and post a big number on Thursday and then fade away. There's really no reason to feel like Spieth can't back this up with another good round tomorrow, and he'll be out in the morning.
No, you're right. And it was funny. Somebody asked me to help them in the pool that they were putting together, and it was a unique pool. And I won't go into all the details, but there were like 5 categories, and you picked 3, 4 players from each category, except for the first category. The first category was Rory McIlroy or Jordan Spieth. You can only pick one. Got to go right out there on the limb, right off the bat. And I told my friend, I said, I don't know how you picked that one, but I picked Roy, so I'm sure that he's not talking to me right now. And but you had every expectation that Jordan Spieth would shoot something like this. Maybe not 64. It's been a while, Phil, since there's been a first-round 64. I mean, you think about it. He botched 15. That's a birdie hole.
Yep.
He's got the course record if he doesn't do that.
Now, behind him, He's got a little bit of breathing room, 3 shots right now. But you look at some of the names, of course, Justin Rose, Ernie Els had a terrific day. Charleston's Russell Henley, Sergio Garcia, a good day for him thus far with 2 holes to go. Yep. He's at 4 under. How about Bill Haas? 3 under 69 for Bill. Very solid round for him and a chance to make a little bit of a move tomorrow.
Phil, if you'll recall, I think that he was the first-round leader last year and then struggled on Friday. But obviously he's got some bloodlines, and he's been around enough now that he knows how to play the golf course. Lots of great names. You know, if there wasn't an 8, if 5 was leading, then you'd be looking at all those guys at 2 that includes Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson and Patrick Reed and Keegan Bradley at 1. But a lot of great names there. And, of course, you mentioned Garcia, hot on the heels of the leaders. Jason Day. Now, here's a guy that every year at Augusta, it seems like he's in the top 10, and he's still young, and just kind of quietly gets himself into position. I certainly would look out for him. Anything else, I have no idea where that came from. I don't think he does either. He's played 7 tournaments this year. He has finished better than 45th once. He has just had nothing this year, and then he goes out and shoots 67. Sometimes Augusta just wakes you up.
Absolutely. Or put you to sleep in the case of Ben Crenshaw. 91. 91, Don.
I think if you've watched Ben play, and I have, the last couple of 3 years, to me it's an interesting story that I haven't heard explained. He can't hit the ball more than 200 yards anymore. And it's, certainly not because of his age, because Tom Watson can.
Yeah.
They're about the same age. Watson had a great round today. The ball just doesn't go anywhere. And he really is, he's basically laying up on par 4s. And, he is retiring from competition after tomorrow, at least not at the Masters. I assume he'll still play Champions Tour. But, yeah, it's kind of a shame that this is the way he's going to go out. But he knew that. He knew he was going to shoot today. And for him, it's a chance to just say goodbye to everybody.
Sure. He'll get a great send-off tomorrow. Tiger's Day ongoing. He's 1 over, playing 17. Up and down for him. Bogey here, birdie there. So he really hasn't been able to get hot and string some good stuff together.
My expectation was that if Tiger broke 75, he had a good day. So I would say that he has done well. I have not been able to watch all of his shots, obviously, but I think he would take a 73 his first round out if that's where he finishes. Maybe a birdie at the last could get him to 72. That'd be great. But contending, I never thought that was going to happen. And now with an 8 under out there, those guys at even and plus are going to have to go crazy tomorrow. And I think Tiger, a great round for him would be 69 or 70. I don't see him shooting 65 or 66.
Well, he'll go out in the morning and maybe have a chance to set some kind of an early pace tomorrow. We'll see how that works out. Don, as always, we thank you so much for your words from Augusta. We'll talk to you tomorrow night.
All right, Phil. Thank you.
Don Williams, the master of sports reporters from Augusta National. Got to be, well, not the longest tenured reporter at Augusta. He's in about 36, 37, maybe pushing 40 years. But some guys have been there.
Yeah.
And
after 20 years, I think they let you bring a guest 1 year. I don't know. It's either 10 or 20 years where you got to bring a guest.
Brings in a cell phone, then you're both gone.
Yeah. Now we appreciate the report as always. Freddie Couples just finishing up at plus 779 for the sweet swinging Freddie Couples, but doesn't have it today. We'll be right back.
Oh, great. I mean, the five, we ended up with 5, 6 guys going there in the spring, and a lot of quality reps for these guys. The experience they gained, like guys like Oh, great. I mean, the five, we ended up with 5, 6 guys going there in the spring, and a lot of quality reps for these guys. The experience they gained, like guys like Donnell Stanley. I told him.
No Braves report tonight. Mike Morgan is off to do what? SEC baseball?
Yeah, he's doing the weekend series that begins tonight in Knox Vegas with Missouri, one of the 5 teams in the SEC, taking on Tennessee tonight. So he'll be on the call all 3 nights, but we will have him on tomorrow night when the Braves, the undefeated and unstoppable and unbeatable Atlanta Braves, continue their run to a perfect 162-0 record in a World Series championship. We'll have him on tomorrow night to break that down.
Oh, okay.
Chad Holbrook coming up after the top of the hour break from Florida, where the Gamecocks are going to be taking on the Gators this weekend in a huge game for them, huge series for them. They need to get back on the right side of these SEC series if they're going to have a chance to. Be careful here. If not, they're going to be playing in that first day single elimination of the SEC tournament. They're fortunate that they're 6-6 and still in the middle of things in their division. Gamecock football practice today. Steve Spurrier did not meet with the media after practice, but some of the offensive coaches did, including offensive line coach Sean Elliott, who was asked about the young guys getting a chance this spring to step up and earn some playing time and earn some starting jobs.
Oh, great. I mean, the five, we ended up with 5, 6 guys going there in the spring, and a lot of quality reps for these guys. The experience they gained, like guys like Donnell Stanley. I told him the other day he probably went 1,200 snaps and, 14 practices thus far. So that's really important for a guy like him. Normally, he wouldn't have had an opportunity to go out and garner that experience and reps. And, those are great learning tools and learning experiences for guys like him. And, a lot of guys got better. Alan Knight became a much better football player. So we've got exactly what we thought we'd get out of the spring: fundamental football and assignments and working hard.
So it's a good thing that they had to have so many reps because of the numbers.
I think it is. I think spring's an opportunity for your young guys to get in there and play. I mean, that's what you want. You want to gain valuable reps for those guys that haven't been in game type situations, and try to limit the reps for the guys that have been there. Now, everyone tries to get improvement in fundamental football, but really this is an opportunity to implement our scheme and our offense to those younger guys that haven't seen it and haven't experienced it full speed.
How interesting will Saturday be with, I guess, all of them having to go both ways? How are you guys going to manage that? As far as
I don't know how they're going to manage it, but there's 5 of them, 6 of them going to go out there and play every snap. It's no different than what we've been doing this spring. And, I think, to tell you the truth, I think they kind of like it. I think they're excited about it. And it's another opportunity to go out there and get them 60, 70 reps to get better. So it's a good thing.
Approach the injuries as a challenge or like you said, it's an opportunity for these other guys?
No, it definitely wasn't a challenge. It was an opportunity for these guys. I mean, just like Donnell, if it would have been any other spring, Donnell would have gotten, a couple hundred reps. You had 1,000 reps on top of that. And here's a guy that's really improved and understand the fundamental aspects of what we're trying to do, the scheme of things. So I think it's a win-win. A lot of talk has been about injuries, but I think it's a lot of positives come out of those things.
Donnell made that much of an impression on you?
I think he has. I think he certainly has. There's no question. He's been there. I guess you can call him the starter at left guard. He's been out here doing it every single day. And, he makes his mistakes just like everyone does that a young offensive lineman might. But he's learned from every experience and every mistake that he's made. He's gotten better and tried to help himself for the future.
You still expect Mason and all those guys to be back healthy and contributing?
Listen, I expect it. Only the good Lord knows what the future holds for us, but certainly I expect all those guys to be back healthy and ready to go.
Okay, Sean Elliott, USC offensive line coach. After the Gamecocks practice, we'll hear from Steve Spurrier Jr. a little bit later on. The Gamecock offensive line, it has a chance to be pretty good. Obviously, they've got to replace one tackle spot. Is it going to be Mason Zandy? Is it going to be Mike Matulis? Center looks pretty good. Alan Knott, Donnell Stanley, he said, at a guard. Will Sport at a guard. Cody Waldrop. The other side, offensive tackle, Brandon Shell. DJ Park apparently has had a pretty good spring.
Mm-hmm.
I've read some good things about Malik Young, being very physical in spring practice, kind of making a little bit of noise himself. So it's it's going to be kind of a work in progress, I think, with this offensive line. I don't think by any means it's an established offensive line at this stage of the game.
No, and I think probably one of the things that you want on your offensive line, at least 1, 2 would be great, is a couple of guys who are borderline nasty, who will pinch, grab, do, kind of unique things to make sure that guy does not penetrate the offensive line. And I think this offensive line has to show more toughness, especially in the running game, because for a young quarterback, what's the best friend? A strong running game, 4 or 5 yards of crack, and they have to develop more toughness in the running game early.
Well, these guys, many of them do have experience. They played a number of snaps, not a guy like Stanley or a guy like Zandy, but several other guys do have a good bit of experience. All right, Tiger's about to finish up on 18. He's got a short hard putt to clean up, and he'll finish at 1 over par. 73 for him once he makes this putt, assuming he makes the putt. To recruiting now. Spoke with defensive end Javon Kinlaw of Goose Creek. Of course, he had planned to commit to USC during the junior day in late March. Mind was made up, but the Gamecocks were not ready to take a pledge from him because he's got some academic work to do to be in a position to qualify. But he said that hasn't dampened his enthusiasm for joining the Gamecocks. He remains in touch with Steve Spurrier Jr., talked to him last week, and he said he wants to make sure he's getting all his academics in order. And he said, if I get my grades, I will commit to University of South Carolina. He is working with tutors, said that he has some problems with math, and acknowledged that he got behind academically for a couple of years before he got to Goose Creek. So he's working very hard to make that up. And he thinks he'll be at USC spring game on Saturday. And he's not really talking to anybody else right now. It's pretty much all USC. Wide receiver Josh Immature Bebe, 6'2", 205,
I'll take your word for it.
Immature Bay
Immature Bay
of Sewanee, Georgia. A lot of offers, including USC, Cal, Florida, Kentucky, Michigan, Ohio State, Auburn, Georgia, Stanford, Tennessee, and now Southern Cal just offered. He's made several trips, including Auburn, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Southern Cal. And he plans to see USC, Ohio State, Arizona State, and Stanford going to Florida for their spring game this weekend. His brother plays for the Gators. USC recruiter G.A. Mangus has been recruiting him. He has recruited Dante Sawyer from that high school. And Immature Bay says he's got a good relationship with Mangus and it continues to grow. And so he gives South Carolina a chance to get involved even more. He said he's pretty connected with South Carolina. He's also been in touch with Brandon McElwain, the committed 2016 quarterback, who's talking about South Carolina to him. He also hears a lot from Auburn, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Stanford, Ohio State, and Arizona State. He said those schools, along with USC, have a better shot. He did not name a favorite. Defensive back Trayvon Mullen of Pompano Beach, Florida, this week compiled his top 10 schools in order: Florida State, LSU, Ohio State, Florida, Clemson, Auburn, TCU, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Louisville. 2017 running back Colin Wilson, Green Cove Springs, Florida, plans to be at Clemson's spring game Saturday. Basketball, 6'6" Malik Ellison, Burlington, New Jersey, met with Frank Martin today, and the two set up an official visit to Columbia for April 24th. Ellison said they had a great conversation, and he said the major point that he got from the conversation was that they need me. The need for me is what he got. He had 20 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists per game. No other visits have been scheduled for him. Now, this weekend, 7-foot center Connor Clifford of Saddleback Junior College in California will make his visit to USC. He was at Washington State March 27th. If he takes another visit, his coach said it would be to Oklahoma State. All right, there you go with recruiting. Chad Holbrook coming up from Florida in our next hour. We'll be back.
How has your group kind of reacted to the offensive changes you guys have kind of made? Have you been happy with the progression they've made?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't made any drastic changes. I mean, for us, it's we're doing a lot of the basic same things, a little tweak here or there, but my guys they're adjusting well.
And it's going to be fun to see them actually get a chance to compete in front of some people now for the first time.
Definitely. Of course, whenever you get in the stadium, it's always a little bit different than out here on the practice field. So.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. The last two golfers are finishing up round one of the Masters at Augusta. And Sergio just parred number 18, hit a great shot out of the bunker, made his putt, and he finishes at 4 under. Jay Day's at 5 under, and he's looking to clean up about a 4-footer for par, which he does. And so he finishes at 5 under, and I think they are the last two in. And that's it for round number one. So it is Jordan Spieth, 8 under 64, Charlie Hoffman, Justin Rose, Ernie Els, and Jason Day at 5 under. Of those four at 5, I guess Charlie Hoffman would be the most surprising. None of the other three, maybe Ernie Els, because he's not a spring chicken anymore. And Charlie Hoffman, not a well-known name in golfing circles. I think he's won on tour before, but he's not exactly the guy you think about coming out and having a chance to lead the first round of the Masters.
But then, and hasn't Ernie Els been the guy in the first day of the Masters, always seems to be lurking in the top 8 or 10 every year? And either he goes the one direction or goes the other way. And I guess the last few years has been going in the opposite direction.
Yeah. Well, having a great first round, if you're a journeyman golfer, and that's kind of where I put Charlie Hoffman. See, I put Spieth in the great category. I think he's proven himself as a great golfer.
Potential great. Yeah, I mean, he's a rising star. I don't think you put a guy in great until, Rory McIlroy, great.
Well, Jordan he finished runner-up in the Masters last year. Mm-hmm. He's won, I don't know how many tournaments. He's won several. He's been competitive in many majors. Okay, great. Maybe you have to win. You have to win a major.
You don't want to water down the word great. I don't know. You don't necessarily have to win a major.
Zach Johnson would be in the great category. Well, he win a major?
I don't think you have to win a major to be great necessarily either. Phil Mickelson was great before he broke through and won that major.
Was he really?
I don't think I would
really great or just.
I don't think Ben Curtis is great.
Why are
He
you
won a
picking on
major.
Ben Curtis?
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
just
now
saying, you're talking about won a major.
You've already ruined.
There's a lot
Zach
of guys
Johnson's
that won.
career. Now you're kicking Ben Curtis while he's down.
How many majors has he won since that opened?
Listen, there's a lot of one and doneers when it comes to majors.
Right.
You know?
So there's a difference between a one-hit wonder and a band that has staying power.
The point I'm saying, I think Spieth is not a one-hit wonder. I don't think he's going to. Of course, anything can happen on a golf course, but I would not expect him, especially playing in the morning wave tomorrow. I would not expect him to back up a whole lot tomorrow. I think now will he go out and put another 64 on top of the day? Probably not, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's 67, 68 tomorrow.
Well, hey, it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't meet better. Now, see, this was, if I'm not mistaken, this is his record for a major. This 64 score is his lowest in a major. So, hey, he may go out tomorrow and shoot a 59. Who knows?
Anything's possible. Back with Chad Holbrook in a moment. All right, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from Main Street, downtown Columbia. Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, Professor Tom Hayes. And we're joined now by USC baseball coach Chad Holbrook, who is down in Gainesville, Florida, for another big SEC weekend series. And they get bigger as we move later into the year, Coach. And you guys in Florida, you're deadlocked in your division, makes this series even bigger. And I know you're sick and tired of falling behind in this weekend series, and you want to get on top for a change.
Yeah, that would be nice. Our hands will be full this weekend with the great Florida team. I know they probably lost a few games that they probably feel like they should have won, as is the case with us. But obviously they've been ranked number one in the country over the course of this season and have a very, very talented team, and they're awfully good playing at home. So we're going to play our best baseball of the year to try to win this series. Yeah, 19-3 at home. The other thing about Florida, you look at their stuff. I mean, they don't make mistakes. They don't give you guys free runs. No, they play great defense, and they got some athletic players all over the field. They can really, really run. They're athletic. They got a lot of power arms on their pitching staff. So they're a typical Florida team that's been to the College World Series in 2010, 11, and 12. They're right on par from a talent standpoint with those teams, and like I said, we're going to have to play great baseball this weekend.
Well, I know you're not happy with the way things are with your team record-wise right now. I'm not going to try and whitewash where you are, but you're 6-6 in the league, tied with Florida at 6-6, and I mean, really, that's the fifth best record among all the teams in the SEC, 6-6. Now, what does that tell you? Does that tell you it's a league this year that's pretty balanced, and you're not gonna have too many teams break away with great league records, or what?
Well, I think it was a very evenly matched league. Last year the team that finished sixth in the SEC won the national championship. So the league's incredibly strong. I think LSU and Vandy and maybe Texas A&M, and then put Florida in that from a talent standpoint. They're probably elite when it comes to talent and the way that you kind of predict a team to have a chance to win a national championship. I think those teams kind of stand out. A lot of other teams have beat each other up, and we're in that mode, and we could easily be sitting here 8-4, and we could have done a few things better. But that being said, we could be sitting here 4-8 too. Mm-hmm. So let's. We got a lot of baseball in front of us to play, and I got some big games coming up, and we're 23-11, and there's people that would change places with us, and have a lot of baseball to play. So we got everything in front of us that we want to play for, and we can still position ourselves to be in a postseason and have a chance to get hot at the right time. So by no means is all lost. I think talking to Coach Tanner, he keeps reminding me. In 2012, we played for the national championship that year, and we started out conference play. We were 3-7. So this league can do that to you. It can eat you up. And that being said, if you just try to survive it, keep your head above water, play your best baseball at the end, maybe you can catch fire and do some damage in the postseason. Talking with USC's Chad Holbrook. Now, we've seen Max Schrock get off to a slow start, and he's really picked it up now. He's got his average up to 293. So he's kind of found his offense. Do you have some hope that guys like Destino and Arendis and Connor Bright, those three guys in particular, and maybe even Koch or Mooney, some of these other guys that play a lot but aren't hitting, do you have any hope that these guys are going to find it offensively and get it going? Oh, yeah, I have hope. I believe in our players. There's no doubt that if we can get, Kyle Martin and Max Schrock and going at the same time, that makes me a little bit more formidable. And Elliot Caldwell's been in that boat too. So Max has kind of gotten a little bit more consistent go with Elliot and Kmart. And DC had 2 hits last night. He's showing signs of starting to produce a little bit for us offensively. And Mooney hit close to he hit a 270 last year. He's certainly not the type of hitter he showed to this point in the season, and we've kind of put him back in there at shortstop, and he's kind of solidified some things for us there. But we can be a lot better team offensively than what we've showed, and some guys are getting a little bit more comfortable now. I think, one, because they know they're going to be in the lineup, and two, they know what position they're going to play. So maybe their minds are at ease a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And Madison Stokes has given us a list the last couple of games from a DH standpoint and gotten some hits for us. Got a big hit for us last night, and got a big hit for us, a couple hits, big hits for us at Mississippi State in the third game down there. So we're still a little bit of a work in progress offensively, but hopefully we'll continue to improve and like I said, play our best baseball at the right time of the year.
The third base coaching box growing on you?
It was. I had fun on Tuesday and Wednesday. I guess the first time I'd been back in the third base box since the College World Series against Arizona in 2012. So it was fun to be back out there. I kind of enjoyed it, and I'll probably be back out there this weekend. I don't know if I'll do it the rest of the year or not. There's some things that I might miss, from not getting the dugout, and there's also some things I might. There might be some benefits of being away from my players, so to speak, not being in their ear all the time. So, I'm going to keep doing it right now, and we'll see how it unfolds in the course of the year. But I enjoyed it this week, and I don't think it has not any indicator by whether it's winning or losing. The kids have to go out there and play. I think it's more for my peace of mind.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned getting in their ear and how you handle guys. I mean, is that the challenge as a coach? Do you not the balance of, all right, do I get on these guys? Do I read them the right act, or do I try to give them some love to get them going? I mean, they can play well. They won 10 in a row, and then you're scuffling. I mean, how do you balance that out?
It's difficult. There's some kids you have to motivate in some ways by getting on them. Other kids, you have to pat them on the rear end, and that's my job as a coach to know when to do what, and I probably failed a couple times at that. There's probably some kids I need to love on a little bit more than I've been loving on them, and there might be some other kids I need to get on a little bit more. So it's just part of the dynamic of coaching. That's what makes it so much fun, and I got some really, really good kids that are trying their butts off. So I got no problem with their attitudes and work ethic to play well. And sometimes in this game, you can get your own way by wanting to do so well, so badly. And but hopefully, we're a little bit of a work in progress. We're going to have some bumps along the way because this league kind of dictates that. But it also has a way of hardening you up, and you're playing the best teams in the country. And if you find a way to win a few of those, it can do a lot for your confidence. And all of a sudden you can start playing your best baseball, which we've seen around here from time to time. So we're going to try to keep this thing in perspective. And like I said, in 2012, we were 3-7, so we're okay. We got a lot to play for, and I think our players are excited about what's in front of us.
So, shortstop going into tomorrow night, do you stick with Jordan Gore? I mean, he's hitting okay for you, about 300, but he's had issues in the field. Or you go with your defensive guy at short. What's your plan, Mooney or Gore at short?
Yeah, I'm gonna put Mooney at short. I've trying to get Jordan. I'm not going to take him out of the lineup right now. He's been playing left field on Tuesday and Wednesday, and he's getting more and more comfortable out there. And we actually worked him a lot in the fall in the outfield. So that's the way we're going to go right now. Jordan's a very, very good shortstop, and he's certainly going to be in there from time to time. But as we play this weekend, I'll have Mooney at short.
Yeah, you feel like defense is more of a premium in these kind of games now going down the stretch. You got to have people in there that can pick it.
Right, and yes, and it's in the dynamic that the pressure that Florida will put on you. You need that. You need to have your best defense on the field, and the playing surface here in Gainesville is typically one in which you need to have kids with great hands, and it plays a lot faster because of the heat down here. It plays a lot faster than what we're used to in Columbia. So that's why we're out here getting ground balls right now, trying to get a little bit accustomed to that. And I think that plays a factor in making sure you put some really gifted infielders on defense.
All right, Coach, got a quick break coming up. Can we hold you over for just a couple of minutes?
Sure.
You got time? All right, great. Chad Holbrook with us from Gainesville. Gamecocks and Florida begin a big SEC series tomorrow night. Back with a little bit more with the coach in a moment. right, back for a couple more minutes with USC baseball coach Chad Holbrook down in Gainesville, Florida, getting ready to take on the Gators this weekend. So as far as your pitching goes, normal for tomorrow night and Saturday, as you've done the past few weeks?
Yeah, we'll go Crow and Wine Coop on Friday and Saturday, and then we'll see who we got left on Sunday. Schmidt will be available to go on Sunday if he's fresh, as will be Brandon Murray. And Brandon Murray fits very well for us, and he's certainly an option on Sunday as we go forward. But there's also a strong possibility that we'll use him on Friday or Saturday in relief. So we'll make that decision on Sunday and see who we got left and who we got fresh. But we'll start the weekend out with Crow and Wine Coop.
What about Will here late? ERA has climbed up over 4, most unusual for one of your weekend starters.
Yeah, he struggled a little bit. His stuff is good. He's just struggled with a little bit of his command, and he's walked a few guys, and then when he's thrown a few balls over the plate, he's missed right over the heart of the plate, and you can't do that in this league. You got to pitch the corners, you got to change speeds, and you got to work ahead in the count. And he's kind of gotten away from that a little bit the last couple of starts, but we have the utmost confidence in him. He's going to keep competing. He'll keep us in some games. So we're comfortable giving him the ball. He's one of our best guys, and I have a feeling he'll have a strong outing this weekend. This Florida lineup, they hit for a pretty good average, hit for some power. What do you have to be most concerned about? Well, they both. They got some good hitters up and down the lineup. They have great speed. They hit 7 home runs on Tuesday night. One kid hit 4 home runs in the game against Stetson. They won 22-2. So they can beat you in a number of different ways. They're very, very formidable offensively. They can hit for power. They got a lot of speed. They handle the short game well. It's a balanced, well-rounded team. I think one of the better teams in the country when you look at them on paper. I don't think they've played as well as they wanted to play, even though they're sitting here 25-9, I believe. But they lost a few games in the league. I think they'd want back. But from a talent standpoint, they're very, very gifted. And, like I said, we got to play our best baseball to have a chance to win. And, we're going to try like the Dickens to play our best baseball of the year. As always, we appreciate your time. Good luck to you this weekend, and we'll see you next week. Okay, Phil, thanks. Thank you. You got it, sir. Thank you. Chad Holbrook, USC baseball coach, joining us here on Sports Talk tonight from Gainesville. Yeah, Florida hits one of the leading hitting teams in the SEC with a 296 average. USC's hitting 262. And Florida, fourth in the league in slugging percentage at 451. USC is 11th. So, yeah, Florida can hit for average. They can hit for power. They've hit 27 home runs. USC's hit 23. But what really jumps out about them, their defense. They don't make errors. They are number 1 in the SEC in defense in terms of fewest errors, and one of the best in the country.
That's what jumps out at me is all this they have, and I look at their SEC record, and they're 6-6.
Yeah,
and I still ask the question, how?
I mean, baseball is weird. That's an amazing stat, though. 3-7 in 2012. And people forget that want to slam Chad Holbrook. Ray Tanner lost some games, too. There were a lot of times they had to win the final game of the regular season just to get into the SEC tournament and the struggles that they had there. It's baseball, folks.
This is going to be a very this is going to be a
Once again, thanks to Chad Holbrook for being with us tonight. Let's don't forget that Clemson opens a big series for them tomorrow night at Boston College. Tigers are under 500 at this point in the season, and that's a rare occurrence for them. I saw a tweet by one of the writers up there today going back many years through Bill Wilhelm's reign, saying that it's like one of was it 12th time over all those years where Clemson had a losing record at this point in the season. Something really odd, because it just doesn't happen very much. They'll try and get it turned around this weekend against Boston College, a team that's not very good and a team that's behind them in their ACC division. Of course, last night, Tigers lost another midweek game. They have not fared well in midweek games this year in particular. They lose for the first time in history to Charleston Southern. Coach Jack Leggett will join us on the program next week. They are in practice and a team meal at this hour, so we'll catch up with him live next week. But he did talk with the media last night after the game about losing to the Buccaneers and trying to rebound from that and go have a good weekend in Boston.
We was having trouble in the midweek. We Clay pitched well for us, so we just had a lot of opportunities early in the ball game. Opportunity in the first inning, and we had the third and the fifth inning, I think, third and fourth inning. We had men on first and second and third base out, could not score. Makes it tough. We didn't need to cut down the extra innings or that small margin for error, and so we got to regroup. It's very disappointing, and got to regroup and play well this weekend.
You mentioned Clay, obviously, 7 innings today from him, only 2 runs, only 1 earned. What can that mean for him moving forward, but also for you guys as a team?
Well, it just helps us know that I know the guys out there pitching pretty well, but we got to be able to finish off the games, and we didn't finish off the game. We had opportunities, both offensively and pitching-wise. We had opportunities and just couldn't quite get it done. So we got to go up to Boston. We got to play well up there. We got to get ourselves back in this conference, race. And the positive is we got some opportunities ahead of us. If we can figure out a way to get some consistency going and figure out who our players are and figure out how to play as well as we have played in the past and get more consistent with it, and we still got an opportunity. But each day that we don't play well, the day is tough to get back.
You mentioned, obviously, guys getting opportunities. You made a couple of changes in the lineup today. Anything behind that? Just trying to see different guys?
Give some guys a rest, some guys an opportunity to cool out a little bit and get themselves back where they need to be, mentally and confidence-wise, and, hoping somebody else can give us some energy today and give us a little bit of a lift. And so, we saw some decent things, but we got to figure out who our players are, the 9 players that can go out on the field every single day and win for us. And so we're still trying to figure that out because we've been a little bit inconsistent.
All right, Jack Leggett heading into the Tigers game tomorrow night up at Boston College. And they certainly need to go out and get themselves a quality win, a quality series win, and get back over 500 and keep their hopes alive for a good finish to this season and a good spot in the ACC tournament and then on for postseason play. But they do have their work cut out for them. And, coming off the kind of finish they had last year and all the controversy at the end of last year, would Jack be fired? Would he be back? He's not, and I say he, his team. He's not leaving himself a lot of wiggle room here and a lot of negotiating power with his boss about see how much improved we are over last year and everything that talking to Radakovich here, everything that you did and said you're going to do for the program, look how it's helped us. No, you can't really say that because they're under 500 right now, and they are no better than middle of the pack ACC team.
But you know what? If they were in first place in the ACC and sitting on 30 wins right now, would everybody say, look, this is all what Radakovich did coming in there and making him cool off more after games? Maybe Jack Leggett would make the case, you're micromanaging. I can't do my job now. I'm having my worst season because I'm getting all this extra.
I haven't heard the first word from Radakovich about this baseball season, except when he had the news conference a couple of weeks ago, and he said he would evaluate the season at the conclusion. There was no vote of confidence there by any means.
Clemson is on its way to missing the postseason. They just lost to Charleston Southern for the first time in school history. They're below 500. Jack Leggett is right now he's walking down death row in terms of his career at Clemson, which is, surreal and sad at the same time. But that's the reality of it. And maybe you could put a lot of different factors there. But maybe, you know what? Maybe it's time. I mean, maybe that's his course, and he's just, I don't know. I mean, the program has slipped decidedly now.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's been slipping a little bit more every year, and now they look like they're, if this isn't rock bottom, I don't know what is.
But, it's interesting, as I say, and I really do believe this is darkest before the dawn. This team could still turn things around. I think the key is you don't kind of bear that pressure that you're carrying and find it in your dugout with your players, because young players start to press when they figure, well, my coach's job is on the line. That's not a good way to do it. Now, the difficult thing for me, Corn, just early is if I'm Clemson, the best thing for me is to be on the road. But I'm not thinking that the best place on the road to be is at Boston College, because if you're at North Carolina somewhere, NC State, a hostile crowd, Georgia Tech maybe, now you can really get into baseball. I'm not so sure that atmosphere is going to be there at Chestnut Hill.
No, there'll be no atmosphere.
So they're going to have to bring their game with them, and that is always difficult when mentally you have to compartmentalize things, where you have to bring the energy through it to a playing area where there's no excitement at all from the crowd.
Well, here's the thing about Clemson. They know every Friday night, with Crownover going to the mound,
yes,
they've got, I would say, a 75% chance to win that game. Play good defense, get a few runs. Now, there was a game a few weeks ago where they got, I think, 4 runs early for him, and he ended up not having a good outing. I don't know if there were some errors or something behind him, but they ended up losing the game despite scoring some runs from him. I remember saying on the show, well, this game's over. Crownover doesn't need more than 3 or 4 runs, if that, to win most games. But that being said, as good as he is and as good as he's going, every time he goes to the mound, you got to figure Clemson's going to win that game. The problem has been the next 2 outings.
Yes.
They're not getting consistently good pitching. They're not naming a starting pitcher for game 3. By the way, these games at Boston College are going to be afternoon games. They play at 1:30, I think, tomorrow afternoon, 1:30 or 2:30. You're playing in the afternoon. They don't want to go up against the Red Sox, I guess, figuring that it might hurt their attendance. But Boston College is, they're not a very good team. But I don't think Clemson can hang its hat on saying they're a very good team at this point in time. Tigers they do not. I don't know what the issue is not being there on a regular basis to see them. Can only go by the numbers, but they don't play right now. They don't play good fundamental baseball. Too many errors. And I think back to the South Carolina series, even though they won that series, I think about one play that kind of exemplifies the way things have gone for them in the last couple of years. And that was that pop-up by the Clemson hitter. I can't remember who it was. I think it was one of their young players. And he stood there at home plate and watched it, and because he thought it was going to be caught or go foul, and the ball hit in fair territory, and he should have been standing on second base or third base even, but I think all he got out of it was a single. Just fundamental breakdown like that. And I think you've seen that a lot with Clemson baseball here the last few years, especially the things that show up in the stats, and that is the errors. And their fielding percentage is like .964. That's terrible. It's terrible for college baseball.
Yeah, but what's bizarre about it is Jack Leggett knows fundamentals. I mean, Clemson, that used to be their thing. People call them robots. They were just, they made all the plays. They did it all. So what happened? I mean, I think in baseball, you can lose.
Drop off in talent?
I think there is a drop off in talent. I think that's what it comes down to. And why? I mean, why has there been a drop off in talent? Now, some of his great assistants are one of them is down at Florida now. One of them's up in Nashville. So
one thing that's hurt them this year in the last 2 years is the injury to Krieger. Now, he would be your shortstop, and he would be very solid. And Eli White would probably be your second baseman or maybe an outfielder. But he's having to play shortstop, and he makes a lot of errors. And they have a freshman playing second base, and he makes a pretty fair number of errors. And Weston's having a terrible season at third base. He's not hitting, and he's making a ton of errors, and it's costing them games. We'll be right back.
This is going to be a very competitive spring game.
Of course, Clemson's got its spring game coming up on Saturday. That's a 2:30 kickoff at Death Valley. Dabo Swinney, Tigers did not practice today. I think they're going to have a workout tomorrow closed to the media. But Dabo Swinney did talk last night. Now, you recall last night on the show, we didn't get the audio in until very late. We were only able to run you a small segment of it late in our show. So we're going to run you a fresh segment of Dabo Swinney from last night, talking about the spring game and his team this spring and getting ready to put on a show for the Tiger fans on Saturday.
This is going to be a very competitive spring game, very balanced on both sides, maybe more so than we've had in the past, just because we got 15 mid-years. And so I think it's good. You create that game-like atmosphere the best you can. It's really a rare opportunity for you to do that. You kind of challenge your coaches to wear some different hats, split them up and different things. I think that's good for their growth. And, you just see how they perform under the lights. We're playing under the sun, but that's the same thing. You gotta, and we're gonna do all live kicking situations. I think that's important. We got some return guys that we need to find out a little bit about, and then we got some young guys from a coverage and protection standpoint that we need to put a little pressure on. Same thing with our kickers. So we'll do all that. Usually we haven't done we've been more controlled with our kicking game, but we're going to do everything live, and it should be a fun day. We've got the team split. I've got the staff split. Nobody knows who we got yet. That'll be tomorrow. We'll flip for it and have a little fun. And it's always interesting to see which head coach wins the toss, because they have their choice. You got two offenses and two defenses, and they get first pick. It's always interesting to see what they pick first, and then the next team gets their pick, and it kind of goes back and forth. A little bit of trash talking, and they try to make a trade or two somewhere along the way. we'll have some fun tomorrow. It's been a good spring. Today was a good day. Today was the only day of the spring. I do this every year, but it's the only time that we don't go ones-on-ones the whole practice. Usually we're good on good the whole practice, but today, especially coming off a very physical day on Monday, we ramped it up as far as our first all day against the second team defense, first team D against the second team offense, and it was just what you'd expect. The first groups on both sides had a great day. The backups on both sides didn't have as great a day, and so it's an opportunity to kind of challenge them and for them to kind of see where they need to be, because the standard doesn't change. If Corey Rogers goes in there and takes out Ben Boulware, nobody gonna get up and go get popcorn. Everybody still expects us to get stopped. It's just an example. So it's great perspective for them, as opposed to them kind of going twos on twos. Just that there's a little difference, and I think that's the biggest difference in our team right now, defensively especially. Last year I never even paid attention who was in the game. I mean, it really didn't matter. It just, you just knew they were going to play to a high standard. Whereas right now, I think we're equally as talented, just less experienced, and we got a lot of work to do this summer in fall camp to get these guys ready. But I've said many times, I think we have the makings of a good football team. We just got to continue to work, and take what we've done this summer and go transform, or this spring and go transform with it this summer.
How much do you scale back for the spring? Give me a percentage. How much do you scale back for the spring? You make the final call.
Yeah.
50% of what you're doing.
Probably a little more than that. But it also depends on once you get in the game. I mean, heck, you might just run inside zone and that team's having success. And, because it's always still, even though it's not scripted, but we kind of have a menu of, hey, this is what we want available for the offense, defense, and then. Everybody always throws in a little trick play or something. Have a little fun. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely more than 50%, but certainly not even close to 100%. But that doesn't mean you're going to call all that. You might have that much available, but you rarely do you get that far into your playbook. At the end of the day, football at its purest, simplest form, take all the schemes, all that stuff, it always comes back to, can you move a guy against his will? Can he keep you from moving him? Can you get off blocks? Can you sustain blocks in space? Can you go and catch, tackle in space? And so that's what we want the game about.
All right, Dabo Swinney taking a pretty serious approach to the Clemson spring game. He wants some excitement. He wants some head knocking. He wants his players to go out there and show the fans exactly what it is they've been working on this spring. They're not going to show their entire hand, but he's not out there just to waste time. He's out there to get in a full, hard-nosed workout, scrimmage, and hopefully not get anybody hurt. And we'll be back in just a moment. Here's some first-round notes from the Masters, where Jordan Spieth leads at 8 under 64, 3 ahead of Ernie Els, Jason Day, Justin Rose, and Charlie Hoffman. First-round leader or co-leader has gone on to win the Masters 15 times previously. The last 7 winners of the Masters have opened with a round in the 60s. Spieth would be the second youngest winner in Masters history, and Ernie Els would be the second oldest. Spieth, the 64, that's the second lowest score for him in a major. He had a 63. Has 63 in another major.
Okay.
Let's see here. What else is interesting? Just looking forward to tomorrow, seeing some of these guys in the afternoon. That's the beautiful thing. If you can go out in the afternoon like he did and post a great number, and then you're playing in the morning the next day when the conditions should be calmer, and you may have the benefit of some overnight rain, possibly. I don't know for sure, but I had heard that there's a chance of rain.
There was a few sprinkles on my way out to the football practice that was over by the time I got there.
What was the stat about first-round leaders winning how many times?
First-round leaders or co-leaders have gone on to win the Masters 15 times in 78 events.
Ooh. Okay, that's close to 20%.
Dating to 1985, Trevor Immelman, 2008, is the only player to carry the first-round co-lead on to victory. So 2008 was the last time I think Jordan Spieth can do it. Having gone through the pressure cooker last year, he'll benefit from that. It's all about making putts. He made a 20-foot birdie putt on 18. What does that tell you? He's already sitting there knowing, if I par this baby, 7 under is not bad. I can live with 7 under. He went ahead and drained it to get to 8 under.
I wonder what works for a successful golfer at the Masters. Do you say, man, I played a great round yesterday, let's get another one in, or you just tear the page out of your book, next chapter, don't even worry about what happened yesterday, good or bad.
No, I think that's what you have to do as a golfer.
No, you have to remember what you did well. You're going to still remember the same angles and the same approaches, and
you don't forget how to play the game.
Well,
but
you're still going to try and hit your marks,
stay even kill.
Yeah,
but the reason I say that is because if the weather changes, greens change, the sun angle changes, and what was true yesterday may not be the same tomorrow morning. That's why I said, well, maybe you have a little bit of a memory.
It will be different tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But
the pin placements are different.
Usually, you find the conditions to be, more calm in the morning.
Yeah,
in most cases, especially like at Harbor Town, there's a big difference in the morning and the afternoon there. Mm-hmm. So you would think some of these folks would have a chance. And of course, Tiger goes off in the morning, and he's got to go and post a big number. He's got to see if he's going to be around for the weekend and have a chance to make any noise. He's got to go out and do something spectacular. We look forward to bringing it all to you tomorrow night, as well as looking ahead to the baseball, the football, and more. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you tomorrow night.